Today, I'm going to share with you the biggest mistakes I see contractors and homeowners make when insulating basements. Mistakes that are technically to code, but will cost you thousands in energy bills and potentially create serious mold problems. And here's the kicker. The building code won't protect you from these issues. If you're new to Crawl Space Ninja, we talk about everything related to basement waterproofing, basement insulation, crawl space encapsulation, mold remediation, and indoor air quality. So if all those things are important to you, I suggest you subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell. So here's the thing, I've been in many of basements over the years, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen insulation installed that meets the minimum building code requirements but creates massive problems down the road. Just last month, we got called out to a home where a contractor had insulated the basement to code. They had their inspection, they passed, everything looked good on paper. But 3 years later, the homeowner is dealing with mold growth behind the insulation, moisture problems, and their energy bills are still through the roof. And the worst part? The contractor did everything the inspector asked for. They followed the code, but the code is designed to be the bare minimum. It's not designed to give you the best performing, longest lasting, most energy efficient basement. That's what I want to talk about today. Now, before we dive into the solutions, you need to understand something about building codes. Building codes are updated every 3 years, but most jurisdictions are working off codes that are 6, 9, sometimes 12 years old, right? So when you're building a new home in 2025, you might be following code requirements from 2012 or 2015. And here's what that means for your basement insulation. You're using outdated R values, outdated moisture management strategies, and outdated air sealing techniques. Let me give you a specific example. A lot of building codes still allow you to insulate basement walls with fiberglass bats between studs with no continuous insulation on the exterior or interior of the foundation wall. Technically legal, technically passes inspection, but it's a recipe for disaster. Why? Because that fiberglass is a moisture sponge. Any moisture that comes through your foundation wall, and trust me, moisture will come through your foundation wall, gets absorbed by that fiberglass. And once fiberglass gets wet, it loses about 50% of its R value. Plus, wet fiberglass creates the perfect environment for mold growth. I've seen this hundreds of times in the field. And here's what really happens. Homeowners think they're saving money by going with the cheaper fiberglass option. They pass inspection, and then 2 to 5 years later, they're ripping it all out and starting over. That's not saving money, that's spending money twice. Now let me show you what the best practices actually look like and why they matter for your wallet and your health. All right, so here's what you actually need to do if you want a basement that performs well for the next 30, 40, 50 years. First, continuous insulation on the interior foundation wall. You want to install rigid foam insulation, either XPS or polyeso, directly against your foundation wall. This creates a continuous thermal barrier with no gaps, no thermal bridging, and it's moisture resistant. Now, the code might only require R10 or R13 in your area, but here's what I recommend. Go with a minimum of R15, and if you're in a colder climate, push it to R20 or R25. Yes, it costs more up front, but let me break down the math for you. If you're heating a 1,000 square foot basement, the difference between R10 and R20 can save you anywhere from $200 to $400 per year in energy costs, depending on your climate and energy prices. That means your extra investment in insulation pays for itself in about 3 to 5 years, and then you're just saving money every single year after that. Second, proper air sealing. This is where most contractors cut corners, and it drives me crazy. You can have all the insulation in the world, but if you're not air sealing properly, you're wasting your time and money. You need to seal the rim joist area. That's where your foundation wall meets your floor system. This is one of the biggest sources of air leakage in the entire house. Use spray foam or rigid foam with canned foam around all the edges. Make sure you're getting into every crack, every gap, every penetration, and here's something the code doesn't tell you. You need to air seal the top of your basement walls where they meet the subfloor. A lot of contractors skip this completely. They insulate the walls, they insulate the rim joist, but they leave that connection point open. That's like insulating your house but leaving your windows open. It doesn't make sense. Third, moisture management. Now here's the thing, and this is critical. You cannot insulate a wet basement. If you have active moisture problems, if you have water coming through your foundation walls, if you have efflorescence, that white chalky substance you see on concrete walls that tells us excess moisture is coming through, you have to address those issues first. That might mean exterior waterproofing, interior drainage systems, proper grading around your foundation, extending downspouts. Whatever it takes to keep bulk water away from your foundation walls. Because here's what happens if you insulate over moisture problems. You trap that moisture behind the insulation, you create an environment where mold can grow, and you can't see it happening until it's a major problem. I've seen basements where we had to remove all the insulation, remediate mold, fix the moisture issues, and then start over. We're talking $15,000 to $30,000 in repairs that could have been avoided. Now let me tell you about the worst practices I see out there. Because if you're planning to hire a contractor, you need to know what red flags to watch for. Here are the things that will absolutely destroy your basement insulation system, even if they technically meet code. Worst practice number 1, fiberglass bats against foundation walls. I mentioned this earlier, but I want to drive this point home. Fiberglass bats between studs with no vapor barrier, no continuous insulation, nothing protecting them from moisture. This is the number 1 worst practice I see. And contractors love to do this because it's cheap and it's fast. They can frame out the walls, stuff in some fiberglass, slap up some drywall, and they're done. But you're going to pay for it later. If a contractor suggests this approach, ask them specifically how they're managing moisture. If they can't give you a detailed answer about vapor barriers, capillary breaks, and moisture testing, find a different contractor. Worst practice number 2, insulating before addressing moisture. I touched on this, but it's so important I'm going to say it again. If you insulate over moisture problems, you're just hiding the problem and making it worse. Before you insulate, you need to do a thorough moisture inspection. Use a moisture meter on your foundation walls. Check for water stains, efflorescence, musty odors, any signs of previous water intrusion. If you find moisture issues, stop. Do not install insulation. Fix the moisture problem first. Worst practice number 3, ignoring the rim joist. The rim joist area can account for up to 30% of your total basement heat loss. 30%. And I see contractors all the time who insulate the walls beautifully but completely ignore the rim joist, or they just stuff some fiberglass up there and call it good. That doesn't work. You need continuous insulation and air sealing at the rim joist. This is non-negotiable if you want an energy-efficient basement. Worst practice number 4, using outdated R values. Just because the code says R10 doesn't mean that's what you should install. The code is the minimum. It's the bare minimum to keep your house from falling down and to provide basic safety. It's not designed to give you optimal performance. If you're building new or doing a major renovation, use current building science recommendations, not outdated code minimums. In most climates, that means R15 to R25 for basement walls, depending on your specific location. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds expensive. Is it really worth spending extra money on better insulation? Here's my honest recommendation. If budget is tight, it's better to insulate half your basement correctly than to insulate your entire basement cheaply. Do one section with continuous insulation, proper air sealing, and good moisture management, then do the next section when you have more budget, because doing it wrong doesn't save you money. It just delays the expense and makes it bigger when you finally have to fix it. Now, if you're planning to do this yourself, here are the tools and materials you're going to need. Rigid foam insulation boards, XPS or polyiso, spray foam for air sealing moisture meter to test your foundation walls, concrete fasteners or foam board adhesive, proper safety equipment, respirator, safety glasses, gloves. We have a lot of these materials available on our DIY store, or we might have some Amazon links in the description to help you find those tools quickly. And here's the thing, if you're not comfortable working with these materials, or if you find moisture issues that need professional attention, that's okay. This might be something you want to have a local contractor or basement waterproofing specialist assist you with. There's no shame in calling a professional when you need one. If you want guidance on your specific project, we offer DIY specialist consultations where we can look at your situation and help you create a plan. Check out the links in the description below for more information on that. All right, so here's what you need to remember. Building code is the minimum, not the optimal. Don't use 2012 code requirements when you're building or renovating. Use continuous insulation on your foundation walls. Rigid foam, not fiberglass bats. Air seal everything, especially the rim joist and the connection between your walls and floor system. Address moisture problems before you insulate. Never trap moisture behind insulation. And invest in quality now rather than paying twice later. I hope you'll subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss future videos on basement waterproofing, insulation, and moisture management. Make sure you check out the links in the description below for our DIY store, consultation services, and related videos on basement moisture management.